Buying a new television is a confusing process. You're always hearing things like local dimming zones, nits ratings, as well as motion smoothness. And you'll see technologies like QD OLED, mini LED, micro LED, as well as your standard LEDs. But I feel that the average consumer just wants something good. So I put together this comparison video to show you guys two of the hottest TVs on the market right now. On this side, we have the TCL QM8, and over here, we have the Hisense U8K. Now, both of these TVs are high performance, and I feel that you'll be happy with either one. But this video is all about comparing all the little details and pros and cons of each model so you can make the best decision for you and your family. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I will show you guys is the breakdown of each TV. First of all, the U8K is an 8-bit panel with frame rate control, and the TCL is a 10-bit panel. Both TVs have 120 Hz, but the TCL does have more nits and more local dimming zones. So I searched about 10 different websites and I couldn't figure out what type of panel the TCL uses, nor could I find out which processor it used. But for the Hisense, I will tell you this. The 55 and the 65 uses VA panels, and if you go to the 75-inch, it uses the IPS ADS panel. And this TV is powered by the MediaTek MT9618 processor. The first thing we're going to look at is some content on YouTube TV, and the things I notice here is that the TCL is significantly brighter on the same scene, but as you look at the graphs, you can see that the Hisense has a lot more darker details. But when I played something red on both television, it looked to me that the TCL definitely shows the reds a lot better than the Hisense does in this particular scene. Now switching over to Disney Plus, I can definitely see a difference in a movie situation. The biggest thing that I noticed is that the Hisense colors are a lot more vivid to me, but you can't help but see those local dimming zones coming to work on that TCL whenever you get to all these different black scenes. Now there were some scenes where I was looking at where the TCL crushed the black so much that you lost all the details, but overall, this TV has a lot of contrast and you're going to be very excited to see either one in your home. Now one thing we have to remember here, this is an 8-bit panel on the Hisense versus the TCL 10-bit panel. And overall, I was pretty impressed with both televisions, but you know the TCL did edge out the Hisense just a little bit more because it has more color capabilities, which I did notice as well when I was doing an artifact test. And you can see that the Hisense is doing a really good job, but the TCL actually picks up a better color profile overall. Now the next thing I did was some contrast test, and you can see that the TCL does have a smoother gradient overall, and again that 10-bit panel is kicking in. And the uniformity on both TVs were very similar. I didn't see too much vignetting except just a little bit on the edge of both televisions. And the last thing I went to check was the motion on both televisions, and I went through the settings of the Hisense, but at the end of the day, the TCL was much smoother even if you customize the Hisense. Looking at the viewing angles, it looks like both TVs are VA panels because as I get off axis, you do lose a little bit of resolution, but I will tell you that the viewing angle is great on both televisions. And when it comes to blooming, I think both TVs did a really good job, but again, you can see that brightness difference in the TCL. And also want to show you guys the standby lights on the TV whenever you're not using it. The Hisense has this little ring that glows on your table, which is cool. And the TCL has this little dot, which is great as well. So if you was wondering about picture quality, I hope that helps you guys out. And it was very painful for me to film that, but it is reality. Next, we're going to talk about the connections on the back of the TV, starting off with the U8K. You got this ventilation here at the top. Over here, it actually has extra speakers in these little cabinets right here to create a better surround sound. Over here, we have a subwoofer to deliver that punchy bass. When it comes to the inputs, this TV has two USBs. It has a serial connection for service ports as well as CalMin software. There's a total of 4 HDMIs. 2 of them are 60 Hz and 2 of them are HDMI 2.1s. That's good up to 144 Hz. Plus you have an ATSC 3.0 tuner and a headphone jack. Over here we have the LAN connection for connecting to a router, and you do have that fiber optic output. And you can mount this TV on the wall. All you need to do is just remove these screws and match it up with your wall mount bracket. Now let's take a look at the TCL QM8. On the top here you have some ventilation. There's also a active subwoofer here on the back, and they call it Ultra Bass. Now this TV has a mount here for the foot, and you can adjust it, but the thing is, when I was putting this TV together on the unboxing, there's some little clips that you need to pull out so you can access those screw holes. Now this TV does have a bunch of inputs, we'll go over that in just a minute. And on this side, you're going to find the power cord. Now, the great thing about the TCL is that it has these covers, so you can literally put it over here to hide all your connections, and it looks very stealthy. Over here, you can find your Ethernet connection. There's a 4K 144 Hertz connection. There's also a 4K 120 Hertz connection. These are HDMI 2.1. And over here, we can have a 4K 60 Hertz, and there's one right here for eARC, so you can have two gaming consoles and have a separate soundbar. Now, this is an ATSC 1.0 tuner. I did make a mistake and said it was a 3.0 in a previous video, but we have one USB, an AV input, a headphone output, plus there is a fiber optic output on this one. So what does this mean to you? Well, the Hisense has an extra USB, has a connection for calibration software, and it has the ATSC 3.0 tuner. When we go to the TCL, you have one USB instead of two, and it doesn't have that connection for calibration, but you do get two HDMI 2.1s and a separate eARC. Another thing I want to tell you about the Hisense is that it supports a technology called WiSA SendSound. And with this technology, it's going to allow you to take an adapter, plug it into the HDMI eARC port, and allow you to transmit your sound up to 8 speakers wirelessly as long as they're compatible with the wireless device. So that's pretty interesting that you have this new technology built right in. So after listening to that sound test, it's obvious that the Hisense has a much better audio system. The fact that both TVs have a subwoofer is a plus, but Hisense has more clarity and those extra speakers on the side. Additionally to that, let's take a quick look at the audio menu so you can see all the different settings. All right, so first we're going to take a look at the U8K, and we're using the theater mode, and you can see it has standard all the way down to intelligent sound where it automatically decides for you. It supports the Dolby Atmos, and it has the subwoofer where you can actually turn it off and on just by hitting that switch. Plus you have a bass boost, which makes it that much better. Now another feature that the Hisense has is called auto tuning. So if I press this and use the remote control, I can go down here and you can literally start setting up your room to get the best audio sound. Now the QM8 works a little bit differently. First of all, you do have intelligent settings and you can set up your sound to do automatic right here, and it can adapt to the content, which is great. If we go down here to the audio, you can see that it does have the sound mode, and we was using movie, but you do have standard, music, voice, and live. Additionally to that, you have auto delays in case you're using Bluetooth, and audio outputs. Under advanced settings, you basically can go here and change these different configurations, but it doesn't have control of the subwoofer like the Hisense does. In my opinion, I really like the TCL and I like the Hisense, but when it comes to gaming, I think the Hisense has a slight edge when it comes to color reproduction. Plus, there's a couple more things that you need to know when you put the TV in gaming mode. On the Hisense over here, we have frames per second, HDR, VRR, and then you have this little piece right here where you can have the frames to display on the screen. You do have your dark details, and over here you can turn on FreeSync if you want, and that's great for Xbox or PCs. You have brightness control, and if you turn off the VRR, you do have what they call high refresh rate, and that's great to make those older games look a little bit better. Now when it comes to the QM8, it does have a gaming menu as well. At the top of it shows all your different settings over here, and you can do screenshots on this television. You have your picture mode for different types of gaming environments. Plus you have a shadow detail, and this one has a aiming mode in the center that you see right here that the Hisense does not have. Also, if you go into the menu, this TV does support HDIG. It's kind of like it's going to adjust itself automatically to the games you're playing. And here's some different screenshot options, and you have different patterns you can use for the aiming settings. Now when it comes to the Hisense, they give you control over everything. So over here we have local dimming, and if you go over here, you can actually toggle through these different settings. And I will tell you that I have VRR turned on, so that's a pretty great feature to have on this TV. You have dark details, So this TV has a lot of different controls to get through all your colors. Now moving over to the QM8, one thing I noticed as I go through these different settings, I don't see any way to control the local dimming zone. So I think what they do is rely on the picture settings and automatically controls it for you. So you won't have access to manually go in there and check it out yourself. Again, it's pretty much something that they choose for you, which is something that is very interesting. So there's the last few things I want to show you guys about the TVs. First of all, the Hisense runs off of Android 12, where the Hisense runs off of Android 11. So you can see that both of these release dates were March 5th of 2023. By the way, here's a quick update. TCL did update the firmware last night, but it seems just to be a security patch. So just wanted to chime in and let you guys know that. Now, when it comes to storage, the Hisense has 19 gigabytes and the TCL has 23 gigabytes. Plus, you can use a USB drive to expand that if you liked. Both TVs do have this ambient mode, and you can customize it at the bottom like you see on this Hisense on either TV. But I want to show you this, guys, that if you're not using a television, you can just basically have it display in some type of screen, including family photos, if you want to use the Google account that's in the TV. You can also cast your phone over to either TV. Both of them supports Apple AirPlay and HomeKit, so you can use Siri to control the televisions. And the Hisense has another feature called Camera Smart Function. Now, if you turn this on, you can notice that I did put a camera on top of the TV. And with this, you can do different gestures. For example, if I put up one finger, I can mute the television. If I put up two fingers, I can turn the TV off. And if I put up three fingers, I can play and pause the content, but keep in mind that that camera is optional and it's a webcam that I use on my other computer. Now, Hisense doesn't have this, but you can add your TCL account to the television. You have parental control, which both TV have that. You have the Game Master, which I showed you guys earlier. And on the TCL, you can adjust your standby light on the front of the TV. And I'm not finding it on the TCL, but I will tell you that the Hisense, you can add Alexa to this TV. So if you have Amazon set up in your home, this is going to allow you to use your Amazon devices to control the television and do basic features. Now here's the main menu. Both TVs are very snappy. They're very fast to get through all the different settings. They both support Google TV and Untitled TV. You have an app store, so you have access to the exact same setup. So let me give you my opinion about both TVs, and I'm going to stay as unbiased as I can because I really feel like these TVs are for two different people. When it comes to the TCL, I mean, we can't go to the fact that it is a 10-bit panel. You have all those local dimming zones. You also have that brightness. So this TV is beautiful whenever you put a signal on it. It's got that nice pedestal design. It's got that chic look on the back with the covers to hide all the wires. Two HDMI 2.1s with a separate eARC is something that everyone wants, or at least have 4 HDMI 2.1s. The only thing that I would say that needs room for improvement for me is that I felt like I couldn't control anything. I felt like everything was pretty much automated. For example, when you're playing games, you can't go in there and adjust your local dimming zones or anything like that. It's all preset for you. With that being said, that'll be the next thing I would consider on the next version of a TV like this, is just give the user a little bit more control. But overall, if you buy this TV, you're going to be happy. Now let's talk about the U8K. U8K is a different type of television. What I mean by that is that Hisense give you control over just about everything. If you're gaming, you have access to your local dimming zones. Also, the audio system is so much more robust. It's just beefy. I mean, you don't even need a soundbar with a television like that. I also like the fact that Hisense really did a good job with an 8-bit panel with frame rate control, so you're gonna have everything you need. Now, I know that you don't have the separate eARC for a soundbar and 220 Hz gaming consoles, but you do have two HDMI 2.1s that you can run up to 144 Hz, which I can't think of a scenario where someone would have two PCs hooked up to it, but you could if you wanted to. And the TV is beautiful. It also has a lot of features like the camera, the WASA, and this TV is adjustable legs on it so you can move it from side to side. So what I mean by two different types of customers, go with the TCL if you're looking for automation, fantastic picture. But if you're someone who likes to have control of all the settings, then definitely go with the Hisense. I hope that helped you guys out. So in the comments, let me know what you think, because I'm pretty sure it's going to go crazy. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.